At the start of a war, the weapons, equipment, structures, and vehicles available for production are very limited. More advanced weapons, structures, gear, and vehicles can be unlocked by furthering research in each faction's specific technology tree. This is done by refining the tech materials aluminium, iron, and copper into alloys and submitting those in the engineering center to further the research. In addition to furthering the research, you will produce prototype kits at the engineering center. You can find most engineering centers in the maps furthest from the front in logistics hubs. Press M to open your map, and while holding Shift, left-click twice on the engineering center icon in the legend on the left to isolate all engineering centers on the map. If you go to an engineering center, you can open its menu by pressing E. In the top left, you will see the inventory of the engineering center, and in the bottom left, your inventory. On the right, you will find the research panel. The research panel is split into two categories on two different tabs. The vehicle category, indicated by the truck icon, and the weapons and structures category, which is indicated by the shield and bullet icon. In each tab, you will see the different research levels shown as rows of icons arranged in a column. Rows with white icons and an opened lock icon at the end indicate that these technologies are already researched and available for production. A row with grayed out icons and a closed lock icon shows technologies that have not yet been researched. The row in between, with the page and magnifying glass icon at the end, is the row of technologies that is currently being researched. The current research level and the technologies in the two levels after that are revealed to the player, while more advanced research levels are unknown until the tech tree progresses. They will only show question marks for icons, obscuring the technologies in that research level. In the active research level, the current progress in that level is indicated by how high the white background reaches behind the main research icon. Each icon in a row represents the technologies or items that will be unlocked once the level is fully researched. Some of these icons will represent multiple items or technologies at the same time. The ambulance, for instance, will also unlock its variant, the fire engine. More significantly, the Tier 2 facilities will unlock a whole host of technologies associated with facilities, and the same goes for Tier 3 facilities. Some unlocked items, however, may rely on other technologies to be unlocked before they can be produced. The Colonial Flame Tankette Vesta, for instance, could be unlocked in the vehicle tree, but it needs the Tier 2 facilities unlocked for its ammunition, flame ammo, to be produced. The Rocket Tankette variant Deionius, on the other hand, is not unlocked in the vehicle tech tree, but comes with the unlocking of Tier 2 facilities, which allows for the battery line upgrade to the small assembly station. The first icon in a research level shows the main research for that level and the prototype kit it will produce. All technology icons on the right of that line are technologies that will be unlocked when the main research is completed. Early vehicle research requires iron alloy, and later vehicle research requires copper alloy. The weapons and structures research is all done using aluminium alloy. Bear in mind that the order of a tech tree will be similar, but different for each war, and that the tech tree does not show a full list of all unlockable technologies. Some technologies might be tied to facility structures or upgrades, or vehicle unlocks. The tech materials iron, copper, and aluminium alloy that are used to produce the prototypes and further the research are made from the raw materials iron, copper, and aluminium. These will randomly spawn on salvage fields while hammering the piles of salvage on the ground. If a salvage node breaks and spawns a raw tech material node, it will be indicated by a different breaking sound and a different type of node spawning on the ground. You can simply hammer the material node the same way as you would a normal salvage node. It will deposit the raw material into your backpack. The type of raw materials, iron, copper, aluminium, and rare metal, a salvage field can spawn is randomly assigned when the field is reset and starts to spawn its first salvage nodes on the ground. That raw tech material will be the only type that can spawn on that field for as long as it is not fully cleared. A fully cleared field is a field that has no nodes remaining in its spawner, which you can see by walking to the center of the field and pressing E, or opening your map and hovering over the screw icon. When that field resets, it will again be assigned a raw tech material it can spawn. Using a stationary harvester to farm salvage will not yield any raw tech materials, but it will also not delete raw tech materials. Instead, it will redistribute the tech materials to other friendly salvage fields. To turn the raw tech materials into alloys, they need to be refined at the refinery. The refinery is indicated on the map with a hammer icon. Drive to the refinery with the raw tech materials in your vehicle inventory. Open the refinery's menu by pressing E. In the refinement panel in the middle, scroll down using your scroll wheel to find the recipes for iron, copper, and aluminium alloy. To refine the raw materials, hold the Shift key and left-click on the material icon in the recipe to transfer all materials of that type into the refinery and start the refinement process. Tech materials refine fast, so you can just wait for them to finish. Finished tech materials will stay in the refinement panel for as long as the expiry timer has not run out. When the expiry timer does run out, all finished materials will be transferred from the refinement panel into the public stockpile of the refinery. To retrieve the tech materials you just refined, simply left-click on their icon in the refinement panel to transfer them into your inventory. To further the research in a research category, you will need to bring the tech materials to the engineering center. Open the menu of the engineering center by pressing E. If you have iron or copper alloy, open the Vehicle Research tab. If you have aluminium alloy, open the Weapons and Structures tab. Hover over the first icon in the current research level to see how many alloys you need to further the research on that level and produce a prototype kit of that item. If you have iron alloy and the first vehicle research requires copper, you can discard your iron as it is no longer useful during this war and will not spawn anymore. Note, some research items do not yield a prototype and only further the research, like for instance the large train locomotive or the battle tank. If you have enough tech materials, left-click the first research icon to submit the alloys and further the research on that level. This will also give you a prototype kit in your inventory, if the research item yields one. If you have materials for more than one research submission, simply click the main research icon repeatedly and gain multiple prototype kits in the process. Since research is a faction-wide effort that requires a lot of materials, do not expect to see any visual feedback that you advance the technology research for your faction, unless you submit a very large amount of materials. Hovering over the prototype kit will tell you where you can use it to produce the prototype and how much one prototype will cost you. Aluminium prototype kits allow you to produce the normal weapons slightly before they are unlocked. It will cost the normal amount of materials to produce one crate. And placed weapons will be weaker and cost only basic materials to produce. Iron and copper prototypes will produce a weaker version that will cost only basic materials. The Niska half-track prototype, for instance, can be made at a garage with 100 basic materials. The Blake Rope prototype can be produced at a factory or mass production factory at the cost of 140 basic materials per crate of 20. And placed weapon prototypes can be made at a construction yard, and prototype ships can be made at the shipyard. To make a prototype vehicle, bring its prototype kit and the necessary basic materials to the garage. Put both the prototype kit and the materials in your backpack and open the garage's menu. In your inventory in the bottom left, right-click on the prototype icon and choose Build Prototype in the drop-down. This will place the blueprint of the vehicle onto the garage floor. Simply walk up to it and start hammering in the necessary materials. When the vehicle is done and you open its menu, you will see that in the top left it shows a research icon. This indicates that this is a prototype vehicle and it cannot be stored inside a depot, neither in a reserve stockpile nor in the public stockpile. Prototype vehicles and prototype structures like emplaced weapons will take more damage and require more materials to be repaired than their normal fully researched counterparts. They will also visually look distinct as they consist of only bare metal and will not be painted. To make a prototype weapon, you can bring the prototype kit or kits and the necessary materials to a factory or mass production factory. Open its menu by pressing E. Since prototype weapons behave the same as their fully researched version, you can produce them at a discount in the mass production factory, something that is especially helpful for weapons requiring refined materials. Right-click on the prototype kit and select Produce Prototype to add one crate of that weapon into the provisional production order. Add as many crates to the order as you have prototype kits and materials available. Left-click the Play button behind the order to start production. When an order is finished, a green checkmark will appear behind it. Left-click on that checkmark to retrieve the crates into your inventory. Hovering over the crates will show you that prototype weapons are the same as normal weapons and that their crates can be stored in a reserve stockpile. Bear in mind that it is the submitting of the tech materials that furthers the research on that level. The prototype kits are just a bonus you receive, but do not have to be used to further the research. A massive thank you to Crowd9er, who was a tremendous help in prototyping this script. An additional thank you to all my channel members whose support is very much appreciated.